Hello YouTube students, my name is Vincent and today I want to take a look at perpendicular lines. In particular, I want to look at the question, write an equation of a line that passes through the point -1, 4 and is perpendicular to 3y minus x equals 6. Now I went ahead and I highlighted all the important parts in red because those three pieces of information are going to get us started for the problem. Now, to get started, we go ahead and write down the information that they gave us that was useful, and we look at what we need to ultimately write the equation of our line. We need a slope, which is denoted by m. We need one pair of points, so we need an x1 and we need a y1. And notice how they gave us the point -1, 4. They want our line to pass through that point, so that tells us that x1 is equal to -1 and y1 is equal to 4. This line is going to go through this point, so we record that point down to use in this equation. So now we're going to find slope. In order for us to write the equation of our line, we need slope, we need x1 and y1. But in order to find slope, we need to use the fact that our line is perpendicular to the line 3y minus x equals 6. So what we need to do, we need to put this line in the form of y equals mx plus b. That way we can isolate m, because the m value refers to slope. So once we have this equation in that form, we can proceed. So we have 3y minus x equals 6. We solve for y, so we add x to both sides. And now we have 3y is equal to x plus 6. Now in order to get y alone, right now it's being multiplied by 3, so the last step is to divide by 3. So now the 3's will cancel out on the left hand side, and we have y equals 1/3 x plus 6 over 3. And now to reduce this into its most simple form, we have 1/3 x plus 2. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit neater. 1/3 x plus 2. But now what this equation tells us is that the slope of our line, the slope of the line they gave us is equal to 1/3. But now one thing that's really important for writing the equation of a perpendicular line, there's a theorem which states that perpendicular lines, their slopes are negative reciprocals of one another. So what that tells us, in order to find the slope that we need, we'll call it our green m because our slope is written in green over there. In order to find our slope, we need to take the negative reciprocal of 1/3. And now the negative reciprocal of 1/3 is equal to -3 over 1. Right? We negate it and we flip it. But what this reduces to is simply -3. So that tells us that our m is equal to -3. And now we can go ahead and use these three pieces of information and put them into the point slope formula. Which, as I said in a previous video, the point slope formula is actually just the slope formula rearranged to make the algebra easier for this step. So now we have our three pieces of information, so we go ahead and we evaluate this for y minus, now instead of y1, we're plugging in 4. And this is equal to m, which in this case our m is equal to -3. So we have x minus x1 now, and x1 is equal to -1. So now we need to simplify this. We have y minus 4 is equal to -3 times, now we have an x minus a -1, which turns this into x plus 1. So now the next step to simplify would be to distribute this -3. We have y minus 4 is equal to -3x, and we have a -3 times a -1 gives us a -3. And now the last step to find the equation of our line will be to add 4 to both sides. Once we add 4 to both sides, we have our equation now in y equals form. So now we have y equals -3x, and we have a -3 plus 4. A -3 plus 4 is a positive 1. So we have y equals -3x plus 1. And I'll go ahead and do another step with this problem. At this point we are done, but like I said in the previous video, if you have time on the test, I always advise this step here. Because if you did make a mistake, this is where you're going to catch yourself. We have the point x equals -1, and we have y equals 4. If we did everything correct, then this point will show up on our line. So we have y equals, but instead of y equals, we're going to write 4 equals -3 times x, but our x is -1, plus 1. And now we have 4 equals, a -3 times a -1 is a +3, so we have a +3 plus 1, we have 4 equal to 4, which is always true. If we had made a mistake, we would have gotten an absurd statement like 0 equals 3, in which case we would know to go back and check our work. But now that we have our solution checked off, we can definitely say that this is our final answer. And once again, to check the equation of the line we were referencing, the slopes are negative reciprocals, the 1/3 flipped and negated to become -3, so our answer is correct. Okay, well that's going to conclude this problem as well as this video. Thank you all for watching, and I hope it was helpful.